Hello, everybody. My name is Python, and I'm gonna be running Night Manor for you here. Now, you guys absolutely blew us away with the donation incentives. The Open Cage opened like I don't know 7 hours ago at $1,000, thinking, oh well, this is gonna be open all day, and you guys met it so fast. It got met in the middle of Black Koala, which was at like 3 o'clock my time, and now it's midnight. So, um, thank you guys for being just incredible, donating so much to Partners in Health. Um, so, real quick, I want to introduce my commentators. SuddenlyJester, care to introduce yourself?
Hey, I am SuddenlyJester. I am a speedrunner for Night Manor. I am going to be helping Python out with commentary, so explaining some of the more technical stuff during the run. However, with us, we also have a very special guest if Fun now wants to introduce Guyself.
Hi there, that's me, Paul Hubans. I was the director, or I guess writer, if you prefer, on Night Manor.
Thank you for coming on, Paul. After the run, we're gonna actually get a little bit of like dev commentary from Paul. I got the A-OK from the team. The run itself is lightning fast, blink and you miss it. So Jester is going to be doing all of the commentary while I play the game, because if I try to commentate and play, it's going to be ridiculous. So let me go ahead and get that terminal code going. And before I start, I just want to mention that this code is not for the faint of heart. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it does just yet. You'll know when you see it. But if you're afraid of like real intense scenes of horror, I advise you to look away for the remainder of this run. On top of that, the code does change the route, and I'm going to let Jester talk about that a little bit, but this is a unique route specific to Open Cage that Jester cooked up for me a couple days ago. So huge thank you for that. And I'm going to hop into it now. So are we all ready?
Yep.
Before we begin, we have a couple of donations I want to read off
Oh,
really
absolutely.
quickly. We just received a $150 donation from the one and only Stand Forwards. They put my head back together nice and clean. Very, very happy to hear that, Stan. And while we're here, we also have $20 from Matt, $5 for each living villager in Devolution, and $5 from Gurizuri. So happy to have Stan have me on. He did such amazing art on the Campanella 2 prize that we worked on, and he is truly a great friend. You killed it. Also,
Yeah, great.
just want to really quickly mention that we have a warp tank incentive that is closing at the end of the dev talk post run. So be sure to get that in. We're $337 down, and the goal is $500. So we are very, very close. And if y'all chip in, we can make it there.
Yeah, chat. That's an incentive you don't want to miss out on. You get to see every single alt color of the tank. This is like the Python block. I'm going to be commentating every run from here on out for the rest of the day. So get used to me. So your warp tank is going to be great, and we got to hit that incentive. You don't have long. This run is very, very fast. So with that, are we ready to go?
Yep.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so Python's going to be starting out here with, unironically, one of the hardest rooms in the game. He just nailed it first try because he's a legend, but the positioning of the cursor, the starting cursor, plus the bowl and spoon makes that deceptively difficult. Now, as much as I'd like to continue giving a play-by-play, though, that's going to be impossible, so I'm going to start explaining now one of the biggest differences in this run due to the terminal code, and I'm not talking about the fact that the killer is a furry jump scare. The main difference with the routing is that he cannot reset at all, because when you have a terminal code active, the game does not save. And normally, right here, you would reset, because once you get that drain out, it is actually faster, as in like a quarter of a second faster to reset and then you go to the bathroom. But no, we have to go back the normal way. And while that is a very minor change, this will become a much more major change in the future. Python is also going to be coming up here with the first major trick of the run, which is what we call a noise chain. Normally, when you make any kind of sound in the game, the killer will appear not too long afterwards. However, you can take advantage of that by resetting the timer whenever you make another noise. So Python here is making a noise with a jukebox, and it's going to drop an item that we'll pick up later, not now. And normally the killer will appear shortly after this, but Python is going to attempt to delay the timer. So he's going to pick up the pool cue. He grabs that gas canister. Not a mistake. The timer is also paused when you're carrying an item. He reset the timer by causing another noise with the clock. Going to cause one more noise to grab the egg. and then finally grab the knife, and then jump scare. And
All right, nailed that.
Perfect. He got first try, like excellent. And another thing I should explain are 2 more things. Both times when he escaped from the killer, he did so by whacking the killer with something, and then leaving the next room. You can only do that 3 times in a run. Normally that resets if you reset the game, but again, you can't reset. So we cooked up a route to deal with that later, and Python's gonna try to pull it off. You guys will really like it.
You say we, but it was all you. Give yourself some credit.
Thank you. Another thing is there is actually, believe it or not, a very minor amount of RNG in this game. When the killer is active or on screen, the cursor shakes a little bit. And normally that's only kind of a thing you worry about when you're going for a really optimized like world record or something, but this will become relevant later on because there's going to be that shake RNG is actually going to be kind of relevant to escaping the killer in one future thing. Now upstairs, this is one of the toughest parts of the run because there are some pretty nasty pickups. For example, there's this cigar in here that can be kind of tricky, but still got pretty quickly. Next in this room, I unfortunately made this kind of terrible. Again, though, first try, he's a legend. With that tea tree oil, normally you used to grab it second, now you grab it first. It's very awkward, but it's for menuing due to the route changes. And we're coming across now what we call the mega noise chain, unique to the open cage route, where he's going to try to do every single upstairs noise in one go. That is the mirror, the piano, and the music box. So starting it now, break the mirror, get the code, flush the toilet to reset the timer, heading into the piano room. This is the toughest part. He's going to grab an item to freeze the timer. Now he's going to grab the key to get the crossbow, and then get the piano. And unfortunate, that is extremely tight. Like,
I have to take an intentional death here because, as Jeff was talking about earlier, you can only hit the killer so many times, and we don't want to waste that right now. So yes. I'm going to take the death, respawn. It's okay. We don't lose any progress.
Yeah, it's honestly not a huge loss. Like, it was.
We also get the better ending. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, you'll see what he means later. Very valiant time, though. That is an incredibly tight sequence right there, that piano section. But normally at this point with the piano and the normal run, you would reset with the piano because unlike the jukebox, it gives you the item immediately, so it saves. But again, can't do that here, so just have to play it out, which gives him the wire. And to close it off, probably, ironically, kind of the easiest part of this noise chain, which is the music box. It's ironic because in the normal cherry route, the part where the music box is the hardest part because that's the really tight part. Instead of the piano, this is the tight part in the normal one. But other than that, he is going to be approaching the segment I mentioned with the RNG. The song is going to finish. He's going to grab the password, head into the bathroom, and then he's going to get jump scared. And he's going to quickly scroll the inventory to grab the crowbar. And if the cursor is fast enough, then it will allow him to escape. If the cursor
is basically RNG.
Yeah. If the cursor was a little bit slower there, he would have had to go one extra room to escape. Because how it works is you don't automatically escape the killer when you whack it and go to the next room. It just massively reduces the timer needed. And he's going to take a rarely used shortcut here in order to... Oh, sorry, my bad. I messed you up there. He's going to do this. Then he's going to combine the hydrogen peroxide with the bowl to create part of the fungicide. This is sort of a newish thing. It used to be we only craft the fungicide at the very end. Now we do that partly throughout the run. He's going to do it again in this room after he grabs the matches. Another very difficult pickup. He's going to combine the cigar for the second part, and then finally use the matches to get the ruby. And we are approaching probably the worst pickup in the entire game due to its dissonant hitbox, the infamous emerald. First off, he has to slot this very tiny ring in that very tiny hitbox. And the thing with the emerald is, you see that little sparkle there? Okay, he got it. That sparkle is misleading because the sparkle is not the hitbox for the emerald. Whenever there is a sparkle hitbox like that, it is for the container. It is, so you don't, but unlike most other things with the emerald, it's not the fountain. It's just the water, so it's very odd. Anyway, Python went into one of the hedge maze rooms without the directions intentionally. That spawns. That's kind of like making a noise. It will spawn the killer in just a moment with a jump scare. And finally, he's going to put down.
Look away.
He's going to put down the rat very humanely. It is not any pain. This is actually a painless death. It's not feeling anything right now. Don't worry about that. But if you were scared, don't worry. The horror is over. Anyway, he's going to open the cellar, scroll the inventory so he doesn't have to do it in here since the cursor is already lower left. And finally, a deceptively difficult room because there are some pretty small hitboxes here, and when you're dragging an item, if you mess it up, you have to go all the way back and drag it. But he's going to get it, open the door, then finally, he's going to grab the tea tree oil, combine it with the fungicide to kill the boss, and that'll be time. Right. Good job.
Whew, what was my time on that? Or I guess I could just check.
But you can't, it's not going to save.
Oh, that's true, I can't. Yeah, that was Night Manor Cherry. Open cage, and so you see we have a scratch on our forehead here, so we did take a death, but hopefully that is the worst injury we'll have received here. Nothing bad is going to happen to us, surely. Oh god. It's the house that makes you furry.
I'm sure that nothing you did there caused that.
No,
Wow.
This just happens.
This was just going to happen anyway.
I have never seen that before. That's
Oh,
I've
you didn't
never
make that?
seen that open. No, that was Derek. That I've never seen that animation. That's incredible.
All right. So now Paul's here. I didn't get to talk too much. Like I said, the commentary for this game is just packed tight. I'm gonna hop off of Open Cage here for the remainder of this, but I think it would be cool to just hear Paul talk about Night Manor for a little while and UFO 50 in general. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Take it away, Paul.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on this, guys. I'm really impressed and amazed with this whole event, first of all, so kudos to everybody involved in that and all the people that came out and everybody that donated. That's just amazing. So this is Night Manor. This is a game that I was given the liberty of working on for UFO 50, and this was kind of like my baby out of the collection. Out of all the games that I worked on for UFO 50, this was the one that I got to have the most creative control over, and I did a lot of stuff for this in terms of just building out the world and you know, designing the layout. This was actually done with a floor plan initially, where I kind of did it from a top-down perspective first, and then I kind of like built the rooms based on that floor plan. And a lot of this stuff was built with like compositing different photos together and then tracing them over with like pixel art. So that was kind of the process. And then Derek, he took the you know, gave it his magical touch, and he made it really pretty. And he did this. I mean, this guy was based on my sketch, but he just made him look even more terrifying in pixel than I think anybody could have. And it's just sort of a synthesis of just you know, a lot of inspirations that I've had, you know, with horror throughout the years. I've been a big fan of horror through, you know, ever since I was a kid, really, because I would see that stuff on TV. And yeah, it's just been funny because prior to this, I never really got to make a game that was like a genuine horror game. So it was a lot of fun to work on something that was really an exploration of that love of horror. And for me, horror, I really like less of like the slasher and violence and gore stuff in horror. I like more of like the creepy, macabre, eerie kind of horror like Night Manor. So I really like vibe with this kind of horror. So I kind of just like how dusty and decrepit everything feels. Yeah, I mean, do you guys have any particular questions about anything that I could answer or speak more about?
What was the process like designing the way that the killer works in this game? Because he works in a really interesting way, with like the noise and how he chases you around and stuff. Like, I'm kind of curious what the iterative process was like. Like, did he always behave this way?
Yeah, that was generally the idea. Like, I think at one point the game, so this is sort of like an idea that I had maybe, I don't know, 15, no, not that, at least 10 years ago. Like, I set out to try to make like a point and click adventure game with AV. It was called like Adventure Game Studio or something. It was actually like gonna be my first PC game, but I never finished it, and it had a bunch of cool ideas that I liked, and you know, I just kind of ended up incorporating it into this and just really fleshing it out and making it like just way more functional and more interesting. But I like the idea of like there's somebody like a killer in the house with you, pursuing you and stalking you, and you have to elude him and escape him. And I just never thought, you know, I'd never seen like a point and click adventure game that incorporated that sort of element, and I really thought that that was an interesting hook to have. And you know, I really like how it turned out, like with the shaking mechanic. I think that was something that, you know, the team wasn't 100% sure of at first, but it ended up being like a mechanic that a lot of people really enjoyed, and I feel like I'm glad that like that we kept that in, because that was like something that I think really added to it. And I just feel like yeah, it's just I sometimes like worry that I'll never be able to make a game as as well as this one turned out again, because I feel like this really captured something that you know, it was just a joy to work on, and it was just a kind of an in the zone, kind of lightning in a bottle kind of moment, I think.
Were there
We've-
any
we've got
ideas? Oh, sorry.
Sorry. We've got a big announcement. We have hit $7,000 raised for Partners in Health.
Oh,
Good job.
that's incredible.
Fantastic.
I feel like I got to remind everybody that the goal for this event was $5,000 for the whole event,
Wow.
and we're at
That's-
$7,000 on day one. You guys are blowing this out of the water. Absolutely.
We have smashed it, and it's amazing to see. And that is due in part to a $100 donation from Derek, whose comment is just, it screams in parentheses. So. And Cosmoing also donates $100, saying big money. So thank you each so much for your generosity. And we have met the warp tank incentive.
Ooh, let's go. All right. All right. Anything else that we want to talk about here before I drive away?
Paul, I was wondering, were there any unused like ideas you had for Nightmare that you ended up not using?
Yeah, there was some stuff that did get cut. I won't get into detail about it, but some things that were maybe just a little too dark for even this, as dark a game as it is. It just was maybe a bridge too far, and you know, but you know, not to get too specific, but I was actually curious if Python, if there's time, if you could find any of these little things that I've mentioned, because I've
been
hide a bunch of
looking.
things. Oh, you
I think I'm at 4 insanity right now.
did you
I don't
poke
know what that
the growth in the shed by any
I did,
chance?
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, cause and you dig up the dog?
Yes, I did that as well.
Gotcha. All right. I mean, I can still donate a small consolation. I just was thinking, man, if those popped up, I would throw like $5 per each one. But I'm surprised they haven't popped up. I guess they are kind of
I'm gonna quickly escape and give us all the gold disc in addition to Cherry. And you know, thank you for having me. I was MIA from the UFO 50 community for a while, and Matt approached me to do this run, so that really meant a lot to me. I want to give Matt a huge shout out for organizing this event, organizing the bingo league, like really taking the lead on a lot of stuff, putting his blood, sweat, and tears into this game. So I want the whole chat to say thank you, Matt, for what has so far and will continue to be an absolutely incredible event. I just want to give Matt a huge shout out there.
Thank you, Matt.
That's it for me for closing remarks. Does Jester, Paul, do you have anything?
No, that's about it for me.
Okay, guys, stick around. We got Warp Tank, then we got Vanger. You're not done with me yet. I am commentating both of those runs, so I will see you shortly.
All right. Well, thank you so much for playing, and amazing work, and thanks everybody for joining.